All right. Good evening to everybody. You're watching Amateur Radio Roundtable. This show is about ham radio, shortwave, electronics, whatever we want to talk about, we'll work that into the show. Hey, if you're listening out there on international shortwave station WBCQ on 7490, we're glad you're with us. I know you can't see us, you're just listening to us. So let me just let you know that on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, you can tune in and watch the show. It's a video show. And you can also check it out on YouTube channel at any time during the week. Just search for W5KUB, and you'll find us there. Send us an email. We'd like to know where in the world you are and how you're hearing the station. Again, we're a relatively low-power shortwave station, only 50,000 watts up in Monticello, Maine, right up at the border between Maine and Canada. But we do cover a few countries, and would like to hear from you. Let's see, announcements. Let's get our announcements out of the way first. First, I need everybody here to hit that subscribe button. I'm making it easy for you. I'm putting a little arrow right there, kind of pointing to, there should be a subscribe button we added in here this year. You know, the show's been on for about 7 years and we never had a subscribe button there, and we've kind of missed out. So that does help us a lot. It helps YouTube to advertise our shows, so we really appreciate you doing that. Hit the notify bell too. Sometimes we come on during the week with some special webcast, and that would notify you if we come on. I want to invite you to join our Facebook group. We have, I think now, 13,000 hams in our Facebook group. It basically follows the show, but then again, it's just a ham radio group. They talk about anything and everything in your ham radio related, electronics and so forth. So please join our ham radio group, and just key in a search for W5KUB, W5KUB, and you will find us on Facebook. We'll approve you. If you want to go the long way, you can type in Amateur Radio Roundtable, and you'll get to the same place. So please join us here. There were some questions in the chat room. Hey, we got several people out tonight, so we're going to just kind of answer some questions tonight. I got some updates to give you, and we got Glenn with us tonight. So we're going to have a pretty relaxed show tonight. We'll probably open the phone lines up real early, and we're going to probably be talking to a lot of you guys out there. I was reading in the chat room, there's several people have been asking questions, and I'll try to answer some of your questions tonight here on the show. One particular, we got new people. They don't understand what the ants and the sugar cubes are. So if you hadn't been following the group, you may not know what the ants and the sugar cubes are, but it's pretty important to know what that is. Hey, Glenn, how you doing, Glenn? Come on in here and talk to us down in Mississippi, man. You doing okay down there? And let me ask you one question, Glenn. Is it hot down there?
Oh, my gosh, yes. It's, I was sitting there in work. Of course, that's north of you there in Memphis. And I sat there and watched the thermometer tick up and tick up and tick up. And it touched on 100. And fortunately, it started going back down. But when I got in my car to drive home, it was 102 degrees inside the car. And I mean, everything was just too hot to touch. And it's been that same way here. My air conditioner can't keep up. It's just hot, hot, hot.
Well, and ours running pretty long hours too here. I know.
Yeah.
Kathy got in the car the other day. Yesterday, I think she said it was 110 when she got in the car. So
yeah,
it didn't take much to heat it up, man. Woo.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a little bit early. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's been times I go to Huntsville or Field Day on this weekend, and it's either storming with tornado warnings and all that, or it's 100 and something degrees. So seems like this weekend is always that first super hot weekend, and then it cools down a little bit. I'm hoping.
Yeah, well, I hope it cools down too. This weekend is Field Day, and I can remember the last 3 or 4 field days that I've gone to, either visiting you down in Mississippi or visiting the Memphis group here. Man, it was hot out there. I mean, hot. I don't know how to say hot any hotter. It was hot out there. And I'm afraid this weekend is going to be the same thing, man. You're lucky, though. You're not going to be at field day. You're not going to be there, man. You get to be in an air-conditioned place.
Nope. I'm going to be in an air-conditioned building. Me and the Demons are going to be going to Huntsville to a cat show this weekend.
Man.
And so we'll be nice and indoors and air-conditioned and just calm and relaxed, and y'all can have that heat. All
right. So now, are there any, like, what do you get when you go to these shows? Do you get ribbons? Do you get trophies? It
depends. Predominantly, you get ribbons, but every now and then there's a club will splurge and give trophies and plaques away and things like that. But
that's cool.
Predominantly, it's just ribbons and bragging rights.
Well, that's cool. All right. Well, we wish you good luck down there with the cats, and hope you do well in the competition down there. And while you're down there, case out the place, man. You know, we'll be going down there soon for for the Huntsville Ham Fest. We'll be going down there soon.
Well, the Huntsville Club actually has their field day maybe about a mile away from the hotel I'll be staying at, so I'm probably going to sneak out, to there that night.
Well,
leave these guys in the hotel room.
Well, Huntsville's coming up, I think, somewhere around August the 20th.
August 20th.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And, it's going to be here before I know it. I have got to, and it's a lot of work, but I've got to start getting all the prizes together and getting the website built up and get all that arranged. So when we go there, it's going to be a great experience for everybody that's watching, and we're going to give away a lot of prizes this year again down there. And we really love Huntsville. It's one of the best ham fest that I know of, and man, we go down there a day early and we stay a day late. Not in any hurry to get back. The air conditioner works really well down there, and
oh yes, I love that indoor air conditioner.
Yeah. Oh man.
But it seems like almost yesterday we went to Huntsville as the first show back from COVID. It's hard to believe it's been a year. That just flew by.
Oh yeah.
While you're getting ready for the webcast and everything, I'm putting together an all-new Arduino forum for over there. And this one's going to be like nothing I've done before. So I'm like you. I'm scrambling to get this one put together in time for the Hamfest.
Well, man, we're all busy, aren't we?
Wow, yeah, man, it's crazy. Summer's supposed to be a relaxing time, swim in the pool and lay out in the sun.
Well, I don't know, man. I had a pool at my other house. I don't think I ever want another pool. It's just too much work.
Well, it came with the house, and it's too expensive for me to move, so I got a pool.
Yeah. Well, okay. Hey, welcome to Tim WB8HRO, and he's on an update on the ants flight, and someone else has already asked tonight about the ants. And ants and the sugar, they don't understand what that means. So let me just jump right into that, and I'm just going to give you guys an update of what's going on right now with our Pico ballooning. One of our show's projects, starting about 2.5-3 years ago, was to send a Pico balloon around the world. And that's not an easy thing to do, or back then it was not an easy thing to do. And we figured that it would take about 10 flights before we had one successful flight around the world. We made it around the world on our ninth attempt to go around. So since then, we've been around the world a number of times. Most flights about 2 times around each time, and maybe 3.5. The Picos we launched at Dayton, if you guys saw the weather, it was really, really bad up there. We lost all 3 of those eventually. One of them did make it all the way to Japan, but we lost it. So let me give you a little update on what we've been trying to do, and I don't have any particular order. So let me address the ants and the sugar cubes. So a lot of people have been following our balloon launches, and they have 1,000 questions, and it's really hard to answer everybody's questions. So somebody asked one time, how do you steer the balloon? Well, I guess we just didn't want to give the correct answer out that, hey, the balloon's up in the air, we don't steer it. So we came up with a scenario where we had specially trained ants, that the ants had been in training for 1 year, and the ants were actually piloting the balloons for us. And because, our payloads are so low, our tracker only weighs 1.6 grams, so, you can't put a bunch of heavy stuff on there. So I figured an ant's pretty light, right? So anyway, then they asked, do we have plenty of supplies up there? Well, I think ants like sugar and see sugar cubes, so we usually tell them we have sugar cubes. So the ant story became so popular, and if you scroll down through our Facebook page, you'll see the stories. The ants became so popular on all the different flights, and we had so many people following them that we give out certificates. The ants were Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Now, a lot of you young people may not know who Huey, Dewey, and Louie is, but for guys that are older like me, you'll know who Huey, Dewey, and Louie is. But we would give out certificates, and when it crossed the equator, when they would cross the international time zone, there's all type of awards that are given, and people were following the balloons on Whisper and trying to track them. And when they would track it, we would issue them a really nice certificate on that flight with Huey, Dewey, and Louie on them. And so that's what the ants are. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are the ants that fly on our flights. They've been rescued. They've crashed many times, and we have pictures. Again, if you've just joined our Facebook group, scroll way down and look at the pictures. We have pictures taken from the rescue planes where the plane flew by the life rafts, and we have pictures of Huey, Dewey, and Louie as they're being rescued out of the Norwegian Sea. Or we have pictures where they went down in the desert, the western desert of China, and they were rescued by Tibetan monks. We have the pictures to show you in the news clippings. So there's a lot of pictures and a lot of information about that. So anyway, right now, let me just get you up to date on what we have been doing.
I think 3 more crashes and they'll be even with Evel Knievel.
They may be, but they've managed some pretty difficult crashes and rescues, but they've always made it back. Now, one of the things, Pico balloons, guys, Pico balloons are made to float. These aren't weather balloons. You might say, what's so great about flying at 40 or 50,000 feet? Other balloons go higher. Well, that's a different type balloon. Those are latex. They stretch, they keep stretching, they keep going up, and then they pop. And that's because the latex stretches and it becomes so thin it pops, and it's just going to keep going until it pops. And we did one of those last year, and we have a video on that on our high altitude balloon where we sent one up 107,000 feet and actually went to Mississippi and recovered it when it came down. But back to our Pico balloons. Our Pico balloons are balloons that are designed to float at a certain altitude and not pop. And there's a lot that goes into making it not pop. You can't just take a regular balloon and say, I'm just going to put a little bit in there, a little bit of hydrogen or helium, and it won't pop, because it will pop, because I don't care if you put just a little bit in there, it's going to just keep expanding, and the balloon's going to keep expanding and so forth. So we use special balloons, and there weren't many balloons that we could use. There was an expensive one that we flew a bunch of, called SBS balloon, and that balloon was about $170 each. And But that balloon is the only balloon that would fly high. That's the only balloon that would fly about 46,000 feet. All the other balloons, the cheaper little Chinese balloons, would fly much lower, maybe about 32,000, 27,000, 32,000 feet. And and because of that, we have many storms, especially in the summertime. There's many storms where the cloud tops reach 40 and 50,000 feet. And if these balloons go into a storm or a cloud, they come down, they crash. So the cheap ones, the little cheap balloons that will only fly 27 to say 32,000 feet, if you're lucky, you might make it around the world once with them. Usually you didn't, but it was a neat ride. The SBS balloon, usually after 9 attempts, we did make it around the world. But we found, and so many people found, there was a lot of SBS failures, all at superpressure. Superpressure is when the balloon goes up and the gas expands, and it gets so full it can't expand anymore. Now, when that happens, when the gas can't expand anymore, that establishes the altitude that balloon will float. It won't go any higher. The balloon stops stretching. It holds everything back in. And that's the altitude it will float. And I'll show you in a little while how we calculate that and determine where a balloon is going to float based on certain parameters. I'll go into that in a little while. So we have been trying to build and make our own balloon that would break the 45,000 foot mark. If you followed and watched some of our videos, we have built a lot of balloons and studied a lot of balloons, and it's just almost impossible. I'm working with some balloon experts out in Oregon that have been working with me, and we've been talking just regularly. And the type balloons they fly are balloons that hold like 100 million cubic feet of gas, and they can lift like tens of thousands of pounds. So, you know, my little balloon's a little different than that. I use a few grams of gas, and my payload is about 8 grams total, and they're lifting thousands of pounds over here with, you know, millions of cubic feet of gas. But anyway, they're experts in that field, and we've been working with each other to try to get this ceiling broken at 45,000 foot. Now, a lot of the cheaper balloons, and you have seen pictures on our site, these party balloons that we can fly, these Mylar balloons, they're not round. They're not like a sphere. When they blow up, they're more like a pancake, if you know what I mean. You know, they're round, but they're kind of flat. That's the way they blow up. Well, altitude is based on how much volume we've got. And those balloons just didn't have enough volume. So recently, we were able to, after 2 years of searching, we finally found what is called some 4-gore balloons. These balloons actually have 4 sections, 4 gores, and when it blows up, they blow up almost completely round like a sphere. And when it blows up completely round, that's probably 3 times the volume of one of those that will that blows up more like a pancake. So now with the 4-gore balloons, we have found one that has some capacity. Now, it's still a very small balloon. It's a very small balloon, only a 32-inch balloon, but the volume in it is about a little over 0.3 of a cubic meter. And we have found, and we're flying one right now, W5 KUB 112 is flying at about 51,000 feet. Now we're in the stratosphere. People have not been flying in the stratosphere. They've been flying lower than that. They've been flying down where the jet stream is, down in the 30,000s and the low 40s. We're flying, this balloon now is flying at 52,000, and it has since launched. So we're not in a jet stream, we're above the jet stream. And because of that, the wind up there is very slow. The wind is like 4 miles an hour, maybe 10 miles an hour. And it's not going west to east like we would normally go around the world. This particular balloon went south, and it went south, and it's making a circle, and then west, and it's coming back. Let me pull it up here on the thing, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Let's see if we can see this. If I can line it up here.
And now we've got a question in the chat room about what data can a Pico balloon give us beside the tracking. Can they double as repeaters by a chip as payload, or a thin wire as an antenna? Well,
Yeah.
we actually run a 20-meter dipole antenna on these for the Whisper.
Yeah.
And but also, though, they could double as repeaters, but we do not send up a receiver. And now you're talking a sideband transponder, which would chew up a lot of the battery power. So these are just little 10 milliwatt transmitters, but they're also giving telemetry like what, Tom? They're giving temperature, altitude, and location, and battery power as well.
Yeah, so you can program the little Arduino to do certain things, and like Glenn said, we're looking at, on ours, voltage, we're looking at speed, we're looking at altitude, we're looking at course, and a couple other things. In fact, NOAA Weather is actually using data from our Pico balloons to help improve their model. Now, if you look at this, if you guys remember looking at the weather on TV, you remember the hurricane models? Well, it looks just like this. If you remember, there was like 8 or 9 models that people would look at, and these are those models right here. So NOAA is providing us this information. There's our balloon right there. We just came back from Baja, Mexico, and we just crossed back into the U.S., and the colored lines there are the predictions on where this balloon is going to go. The end of those colored dots there are 80 hours out, so it's going to take 80 hours to get there. It looks like we're going to be doing a kind of a circle there. We're above the jet stream, so we're not flying fast to the east like we normally would go around the world. We've been around the world in as short as 9 days before. But up here now, where we are now, I mean, we've been flying for 10 days, and we're west of where we started. So, so you can see that our experiment here is to see if we can keep it up in the air over 50,000 feet an extended amount of time. I'm not really concerned about going around the world because this balloon now is proven. This balloon is proven to fly, and we've got a few other people flying it now. This balloon will fly at 51,000 feet. This balloon cost about $12. The SBS, that used to be the highest flying balloon, it cost $170, and it would only do about 45,000. So there's been some real progress made here after hunting this for several years. So the tracker itself. The tracker itself, we build it under a microscope. The tracker itself weighs 1.6 grams. A U.S. penny, weighs, I think, 2.5 grams. So our entire tracker that's got the GPS on it, the Arduino processor, the transmitter, and then when you add in all the solar panels and the other stuff, and the antenna, the 20-meter antenna, it comes in at about 8 grams, 7.8 grams total. So 7.8 grams, that includes a 34-foot antenna. So 7.8 grams, that's about the weight of maybe 4 pennies or something like that. It's pretty light there. So let's see. Let me go back. Let me go to our Facebook group here real quick and see if I just here's a shot here of the tracking. We get tracking every 10 minutes. We get tracking every 10 minutes sent on Whisper. and only during the daylight. When it goes to sleep, it still flies, but we don't transmit. So here we are. We went down to Mexico. We went out over the Pacific. We made a turn. We're coming back. We just crossed back into the U.S. right there. So that's where we are right now. Let me see, next picture here. We've got a lot of people that, here's Tim Toast. I think he's in the chat room tonight. Tim's been following it here on a web and SDR. Let me see if I can scoot this over a little bit. Right there. So he's actually pulling it up on an SDR, a Kiwi SDR receiver. And it even has Whisper built in. You can actually track this thing just by going to remote receivers and listening to it. So that was kind of neat what he's done there.
Tom, what is the temperature like up in the stratosphere once we get out of the jet stream?
Well, I think the temperature up there is probably close to -40.
Wow.
Where we are right now. So here's a shot here of, and here's the thing we always watch. If you look at this top picture, you can see our track right there. We're coming around to Baja, Mexico there. But if you look at the picture right below it there, all that red is storms. Those red are storms right there. And I think I've got it marked here. There's a storm cloud there over 40,000 feet there. And we're only flying about 51,000. So the ants are having to, kind of zigzag back and forth and try to stay out of the storms there. Let's see what else we got going here. One of the prediction, and the prediction changes every few hours. The prediction was showing us heading out over the Pacific toward Hawaii, but you can see it turned right there, and it's gone back towards the U.S. It may cross right back over us here.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting that once you get out of the jet stream and the steering currents, just how literally uncontrolled the flight is.
Yeah. Now, most of the Pico balloons have been flying down here in the troposphere, where you see my mouse. We're actually flying in a stratosphere. We're officially in a stratosphere. And I found today that there's another couple people flying this balloon now, and they are also up at the 51,000 level. So we're not the only ones now up there. So the trend now is we're moving people out of the troposphere and we're moving them up into the stratosphere. If that's where you want to be. If you want to go around the world, that's not a very good place to be right there. To go around the world, believe me. Sometimes the wind's only 3 miles an hour up there. Let's see.
Yeah, Tom, a question from the chat room here. What SDR software is used for Whisper?
Well, let me just say...
well, can't you do stuff like Ham Radio Deluxe even? And something like a Signal Link or any kind of... whatever you would use for FT8.
Well, Whisper is you can just download it. It's free. It's a part of the package WSJTX. If you just download the free WSTJX, it has all your digital modes in there, and it has Whisper in there and all that, and it's free. So if you've got a receiver, you can just download that software and connect your sound card to your speaker, and you can copy Whisper. Now the nice thing about Whisper is, guys, it is the weak signal propagation reporter. It is a neat deal. It will hear signals that your human ear will not hear. Our little 10 milliwatt transmitter, that's running less power than your garage door opener. But your the little 10 milliwatt transmitter is being picked up. It's being picked up as far away as 9,000 kilometers away. I think I've got a shot here. Let's see. Here's a shot of today, the last few hours of who's picking it up. Let me see if I can Let's see if I can make this a little larger for you. So you can see right there, our balloon is right here, right there where the cursor is. And people in Hawaii are picking it up right now. People all across the U.S. are picking it up. The gray line is starting to come in right there. But people will start hearing it in a little while. People will start hearing it in Europe. So the nice thing about whisper is weak signal is going to hear signals that your ear's not going to hear. And what we do is whisper does not typically give you all the data that we get. And so people prior to me have figured out a way to get that extra data. By the way, this is the tracker right here. That's the tracker, and you can see the little white thing is the GPS. The little antenna on top, that's the GPS antenna. That's just a piece of guitar wire. I don't even use guitar wire anymore. I use this regular piece of wire. The Arduino processor's on the bottom, and then it's a two-sided board. We've got parts on both sides. If you look at this board, you can see how narrow that board is. A friend of mine, we're having some more boards built, and we're making one half this size. It's going to be this size. It's going to be about the size of that white chip right there. The entire transmitter tracker. It's going to be half the size of this board. So anything we can do to reduce weight. So I was mentioning that we use Whisper takes your call letters, and it will send your call letters basically, and just one or two more simple things like your dB level, dBm, which is your power level, and it will send a 4-digit grid square. 4-digit grid square is only good for about, I don't know, maybe 100-mile box, so it's not real accurate. So what we do, we take that power level in the first transmission under the call W5KUB, and in the power level, we don't use that for power. We use it for altitude, and we use it for rough altitude, and that's stored in the Whisper database. And then we send after that 2-minute transmission, we send another 2-minute transmission of more data. And then we run a Python script here on Earth that goes to the Whisper database, and it pulls my call letters out, and it pulls that extra data out, and it puts it together, and then we send it to aprs.fi. Now, Bill is the one that's provided me the Python, and he writes all this code, and he has been the key factor in helping me with the tracking part of these trackers.
What frequency are you transmitting on?
This is 20 meter Whisper. That's 14 megs, 14.0956. That's 20 meters. Now we could go to 10 meters, and guess what? 10 meters would half the length of our antenna. We got a 20 meter dipole on here. That 20 meter dipole is 34 feet long, 17 feet up.
Save you even more weight.
17 feet down. But the dipole, the whole 20 meter dipole only weighs 1.4 grams.
Yeah, but if you can cut that in half, that's 7/10 of a gram.
I could cut that in half by running on 10 meters, and we could save 0.7 grams. And I think by this new little half board, in fact, I've got some other boards coming in that are thinner than these, that are 0.4 of a millimeter, and we're going to try to build some up. But so the secret, like Bill says, the secret is make it light and make it even lighter. Light gets you go higher. It really does. So if it wasn't for Whisper, we wouldn't be able to track these things, really. And people say, well, why don't you put a camera on it? Well, you can see a camera would weigh 100 times more than this. Hey, I'll show you real quickly here. I want to show you how we know where it's going to fly. And we know within a few hundred feet when we design this, we know where it's going to fly. And I'm going to show you just a quick calculation on how we fly it. And I'm going to use one of the new experimental balloons we're flying. So let me do this.
Now, also something about the if we were to try to fly a camera, you're talking about a constant current draw versus our solar cells. And, that's going to be a significant current. And then trying to send video at, 20 meters at whatever super slow baud rate you've got, I think you're limited at best to 300 baud. So you would never be able to send video. Best you could do would be to record it on an SD card and hope that you find the thing when it comes down. And so far, Tom's finding record isn't anywhere near as good as the flying record.
So I'm going to open a spreadsheet here that shows us how we know where it's going to fly. Let me see if I can do this. My PC is so far away, I'm having difficulty reading it here. All right, so this is our float calculator right here. Let me get a better. There we go. Now you can see more of it, I think. Let me see if I can move Glenn up a little bit. So this calculator here, we tell it whether we're going to use hydrogen. If you look over here on the left where the mouse is, I've got hydrogen selected. We can select hydrogen or helium as our lift gas. Hydrogen is going to go higher. So let's do this. Let's take one of these new experimental balloons, the small balloons we've got, and I inflated it and tested it to see how big it gets. And I got 106-inch circumference. You take 106-inch circumference, and 106-inch circumference will equate to let's see, 106. It equates to about 0.320 cubic meters of volume. Now, so let's do this. Let's put in this spreadsheet real quick here, and I'll show you what happens here. How we know where it's going to fly. So I know the weight of the balloon is 40 grams. So I'm going to come up here, and right here, I'm going to put 40 in here. I'm going to put 40. It's already in here, but I'm going to type it again. I just put 40 in there. I know my tracker is going to be, my tracker is like 7.8 grams, and then I might have a little bit of glue, or I may have a little piece of tape. So let's just put 8 grams in here for the weight of the payload. So we're going to put 8 grams in there for our payload. All right, now the volume of that balloon, once I measure the circumference of that balloon, I can easily calculate the cubic meters of volume. And that cubic meters is going to be about 0.320 cubic meters. So let's put in here volume of the balloon here. We're going to put 0.320. We're going to hit enter. All right, so now we have hit, okay, we've got the volume in of the balloon, we've got the weight of the balloon, we've got the weight of the tracker. Now, I've tested these balloons, I've pressure tested them up to about 0.433 psi. They will pop if you get much higher. That's about the limit, about 0.45 or 0.5, they're going to pop. So we've got to keep our pressure below 0.5. So let's look down here at the bottom of our differential pressure. Right now, our differential pressure is 0.192 in that balloon. And let's look over here at the altitude. It's showing 52,919 feet. And that's with a free lift. Let's go up to the top right here. You can see the mouse. That's a free lift of 6.69 grams. So we measure out the gas with gram scale. let's change that to like 8 grams of free lift and see what it does to our pressure. That's a pretty safe pressure. We're good to about 0.4. That's pretty good. We're almost at 0.2. So that should survive. So let's go up here and put a little bit more gas in and bring our free lift to like 8. So here we go. I'm gonna put 0.05 cubic meters in, and that brought me to, okay, I put 0.05 cubic meters of gas in. That brought me up to 8.9 grams of free lift. All right, now, if you notice, our pressure went up from 0.19 to 0.25 psi. So, we don't want to go much higher because we don't want to pop the balloon. But look at the altitude, 52,854. We didn't gain hardly any altitude. I think we were around 52 to start with. We didn't gain anything. So let's do this. Let's take our free lift. Let's take our gas back down. Let's take our free lift down to about 6 or something like that. So I'm gonna put less gas in it. I'm gonna put in 0.047 cubic meters of gas, and that took me down. Okay, I'm at 5.5 grams of free lift. That means if I tied 2 pennies on there, it would lift it. It would lift 2 pennies at 2.5 each. So look, that brought my internal pressure differential down to 0.16 psi, which is pretty safe. We're still at 52,950. In fact, we may have went up 100 feet. So that's kind of where we want to be. We want to be somewhere in the 5 or 6 grams of free lift. We want to fly, of course, as high as we can, but we want to keep our differential pressure safe. And it looks like this balloon is going to fly at 52,900 feet with 5.55 grams of free lift in it. So that's how we calculate the weights and the free lift of our gas and so forth. Let me see if I can figure out how to bring Glenn back. Let me I can. Might not be able to bring you back tonight, Glenn.
Oh well.
Let's see.
Interesting thought that I just had too, and that's now that you're up in the stratosphere, the issues with icing are going to be significantly reduced because you're not going to have the atmosphere up there to create the icing.
Yeah, icing.
So
and there's a website we go to that tells us that what level the icing is, and it tells us, and it's usually down quite a bit lower than that. It's pretty dry up where we are. I'm trying to figure out how to get you back into. There we go. I got you back now. Okay, so that kind of gives us an idea of the material, the balloon, the pressure, the free lift, and where we're going to fly. So, let's see. I was going to look in the chat room here and see how long can you keep it flying for the next record.
Yeah, the biggest thing in the chat room that's popped up is AC2GL said, why don't you use Kapton tape instead of a circuit board? Because they're saying that circuits are being printed on Kapton tape for cell phones these days.
Well, we do.
I don't think we've got the fab process for that.
Well, we do use Kapton tape to tape up things with on here. We don't for the circuit board. Now, I'm having, the new circuit boards I'm getting to probably this week are going to be 0.4 millimeters. They're going to be even smaller than this. If we eliminate that entire circuit board, we might. This whole tracker with everything on it only weighs 1.6 grams.
Yeah.
So we take that board out. I don't know how much I can measure the weight of the board over here, but we're going to bring the board down and we're going thinner and we're going half size. This board right now is about a little over an inch long right here. The new ones we're having made are only half this length. They're about the length of that white thing right there. That's going to be the entire tracker, and we'll have to cram all the parts on the front and the back side there. So is it Better to fly high? I don't know. You know, a lot of people want to go around the world. We went around the world a number of times, and we wanted to try to break that altitude ceiling, you know, and that's why we're happy to be up in the 50s right now. And plus, you know, guys, the storms are going to kill you. The storms always kill these things. It takes a lot of luck to get around the world, and one piece of that luck is don't hit a storm. If you hit a storm, you're down. So when we've been flying in the 40s, that's great. You know, a lot of storms aren't that high, but just on this flight alone, the last 10 days, I have been seeing cloud tops in some places, particularly in the Gulf, as high as nearly 50,000 feet. So that's not real good. You know, and if you want to track track our flights, we've got a website set up. We've got a website set up, and it's just called W5KUB.com, and you can let me do this. It makes it easy tracking for you. So just go to W5KUB.com and you'll see this. And I've got links on there for you. The balloon right now has been up 10 days, 11 hours, and 49 minutes right there. And if you just scroll down, you can click on a link. This brings up the APRS link to see on the map where it is. This brings up the HAB hub. This brings up the WSPR information. There's also some things on here that you might be interested in, like Ventusky and winds.com. Let me click on Ventusky and show you what this is. This is really neat. So let me click Ventusky. Here we go. Now, when we're flying lower, this is very helpful. This is very helpful because what we can do, we can go over here and we can put in our altitude, and we know by a tracker what our altitude is. Let's just go to 12,000 meters. 12,000 meters, that's about 39,000 feet. So I just went to 39,000 feet right there. And I'm going to click on, right now it's on temperature, I'm going to click on wind speed. All right, and there we go. If you look at this, where's the U.S.? Let me find the U.S. Here's the U.S. where I got the map right here. If you look at the wind speeds, if you put the cursor here, you can see the wind speed coming into Southern California. Look at it. The wind speed there is 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. There's 116 miles an hour, but that's down at 36,000 feet. We're much higher than that, and Ventusky doesn't take us up quite as high as what we're flying. But if you're flying lower, you can typically use this, and you can see the jet streams, and you can actually tell where the balloon's going to go and where it's going to cross into Africa, where it's going to cross across China, and so forth. So that's kind of a cool one right there that you can get. And Glenn, you got wind speed, you've got air pressure, humidity. Let's see. I was going to go to. Let's go to Windy. It's similar. I'm going to go to windy.com and let you see what windy.com does. Windy.com is also a good one here. So if you go to windy.com and you go over here, you can bump this thing up right here. It's on surface now, but you can crank it on up to, there's 45,000 feet right there, 45,000 feet. And let me back out a little. Here's the U.S. And let's see, let's get wind speed. We want wind speed, so we're going to click wind. Let me turn it on. All right, we're at wind. And if I click the mouse anywhere in there, it tells me right there the winds at that altitude are 50 miles an hour, and right there, hey, they're only 12 miles an hour. That looks like what we're going to be kind of going into, that 12 mile an hour deal there. it shows you a lot of neat things. You can come down here for cloud tops, high clouds. Let's see, cloud
You know, at
tops.
12 miles an hour, you can just about jog around the world before the balloon does.
Yeah, and look, here's cloud tops, and right over looks like Alabama and upper Florida, we got some cloud tops. I'm going to click on it and see how high they are. Oh, look at there. See that red right there? Those cloud tops right there are 40,200 feet high right there. Now, hopefully, we're going to go across the upper central U.S. here, but that's 40,000 foot cloud tops right there, and that would not be good for us for sure. So. Hopefully that gives you guys kind of a some information that maybe you didn't have before about our balloon flights, and we thought this one went down last week. The second day it was up, it didn't report the second day it was up, and nothing. So we thought, well, it's gone down. But that's the day we had a major solar storm, and all the HF bands were unusable. We think that's what caused us not to get any reports during that day. The next morning, it surprised us and started transmitting the next morning, and it has every day now for the last 10 days. Let me look at the chat room here real quick.
You know, talking about the cosmic ray thing from Tim Toast there, they had to coat the lunar lander in gold foil to block the cosmic rays and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's going to cost you weight.
Well, you know, one of the things we've been lucky. I mean, the ultraviolet is very strong up at these altitudes. It's not blocked. It's real strong. And we've been very lucky. Ultraviolet, gamma rays, and things like that have not destroyed our trackers. They've always kept working. We've never really had one that failed. So that we've had, you know, the components we're using must be shielded somewhat to prevent that. You know.
Yeah, but they're not military grade type shielding.
Yeah.
You know, they're cheap chip manufacturer shielding. You know, just whatever happens to be there is what you get.
Yeah. Brett said he would just solder the parts on the dip pins. Well, that's an idea, you know. I mean, we've done.
Have you seen the size of these things?
We've done worse than that. We've done worse, and we have built up a number of optional things with these boards here that were built with the Manhattan style, where you just solder all the legs together and it looks like a big spotter or something. You can do that for sure. Not sure how much we would save. We're really getting down to there's not much more to save, to tell you the truth, but. We may be able to cut one more gram off. That's to be seen, I guess. Hey, I made last week we were talking about different things, and we were talking about pilot license, private pilot license, and I mentioned that Bob Cummings held pilot license number 1. Well, I was kind of wrong on that. Bob Cummings, I looked it up. Robert Cummings, he holds the flight instructor number 1 license. He was the first person to get a flight instructor license, and he learned to fly back in 1927 in high school, and he became one of the first. He became the first licensed flight instructor. So that's what Bob Cummings did. You may remember him from a TV show. I think he was a photographer or something. I think he may have flown some too. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to correct that right there. Let's see what else we got to hear. What did I mention? So, hey, but we talked about SDR receivers. There's several different SDR receivers that you can go to out there. Kiwi is one of them. I think it's just called, if you just search for Kiwi SDR, you'll find them. There are others out there. I didn't know that some of the Kiwis had a built-in whisper in them, and Tim Toast showed me that today. Let's see. Let's do this, and hey, it's Bill Brown back. We needed a Bill in here to help us with this segment. We'll talk more about it here in a few minutes. I don't know if Bill's going to join us on video or not, but we'll be right back. Don't go away.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art from QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote. An LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
Be a field day leader with ICOM. Field Day is ham radio's most popular event, and it's just around the corner. It's June 26th and 27th. More than 40,000 North American hams come together to operate remotely. Contact with nature, contact with friends. With a powerful and high-quality ICOM base station, easily cut through the pileups to get that contesting edge. Our popular IC705 portable, the IC7300, and the IC7610 SDR transceivers are the clear choice for DXers and contesters across the globe. The IC705 is a perfect transceiver for hams who enjoy both the great outdoors and indoors, or field day. It's a portable package covering HF 6 meters, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters, and is weighing in at just under 2 pounds. It has a 4.3-inch touchscreen with a live band scope and waterfall. It runs 5 watts with a battery or 10 watts with a 13.8 volt DC power supply, integrated GPS with antenna and GPS logger, and the speaker microphone, the HM243, comes standard. The IC7300 is a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design that will far exceed your expectations. This innovative HF transceiver digitizes RF before various receiver stages, reducing the generated inherent noise in different IF stages. It has RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, a large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, and real-time spectrum scope. The IC7610 is the SDR every ham wants. This high-performance SDR has the ability to pick out faint signals in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. The ICOM IC7610 is a direct sampling, software-defined radio that has changed the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. It has RF direct sampling, 110 dB RMDR, independent dual receiver, and dual digiselect. For more information, visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur. All right, we are back, and Bill Brown, you going to join us on the show, or are you just staying in the chat room tonight? Oh man,
Didn't even see him in the chat room.
well, somebody said hello to Bill. I guess he's in there. Let's see.
I'm not seeing him.
You're not?
Yep.
Well, maybe he's not there. Let's see. Well, I don't know. Maybe he came and went. I don't know. I'll go ahead and post the Zoom link. Get people in here that want to join us. So if you'd like to join us on Zoom, here's the opportunity to give us a call. We're right at 9 o'clock now. Let's see. Hey, copy. All right. Give us a call on Zoom and get in here with us. Here's the Zoom link right here. And we're going to move on. Hey, Amateur Radio Roundtable kind of is over with. we're going to get really informal right now, man. We're going to go to after the show. So for all you people out there listening on international shortwave, we really appreciate you being with us. This show is about ham radio, amateur radio, shortwave, and we're going to a segment now. This is a new part of the show. It's just called After the Show. And anybody who wants to join us on Zoom can come in here to be part of the After the Show. I just posted a Zoom link there on video, and would love to have you. And we'll talk about just about anything. We'll answer your questions, or we'll dig something up for you, or we'll talk about field day, or whatever you want to talk about. And Tim Conway just joined us, so we welcome Tim in here. We're glad to have him again tonight with us. I don't know if Charlie's with us. Anybody seen Charlie in the chat room tonight?
Thanks, Seth.
What's this called? C something, whatever. I don't know. Okay.
I bet field day is going to be fun this year with the sunspots coming up and everything.
I'll tell you, the bands have really been opening up a lot. 6 meters has been opening up. The upper HF band's been opening. I was thinking about tonight, maybe just I was going to throw out a little segment on maybe some simple 6 meter antennas, so people can get on and have fun with 6 meters. But back in the early 1960s in AM, I loved 6 meters. Yeah, it was so cool to be down here in Arkansas and talk to people up in New York. It sounded just like they were in the room with me.
Right.
6 meters. Man.
I loved it when you had the band openings. You could actually see it start in Europe, and then it would come over stateside, and you could literally watch the opening as it progressed from the East Coast to the West Coast. And there was one night that the whole gang here in Olive Branch, we literally tracked that opening and just worked it as it went from East to West Coast. And gosh, that was just an absolute blast.
Well, 6 meters is called the magic band, and it does have some magic to it, I think. And you don't have to have a big 6 meter beam and aim it, where you want to. I mean, man, people with just very simple 6 meter antennas are talking all over the country with it. I mean.
Yeah, no, it's fun. When 6 is open, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, I thought about maybe next week or so, maybe we'll talk about some antennas that we can build together for really simple antennas for 6 meters. So one is just a quad. Basically, it's a couple pieces of PVC pipe, in a plus shape, and just a piece of wire around it. And, a full wave around it, hook your coax directly to it. Don't worry about matching. It'll work beautifully. Another one I've got is, and I've used, is basically the same quad, but it's 2 quads, 90 degrees from each other, like that. 90 degrees, one run east and west, and the other quad running north-south. And there's a little piece of matching coax. I forget the RG number, but I've got it here, and I'll show it. Just make a loop with that matching and hook your coax right to it, and you've got a omnidirectional 6 meter antenna. And the nice thing about these, I'm in a waiting room now, whoever that is. Oh, the nice thing about the 6 meter antennas are they're small, fairly small. Hey, tie a rope around it, shoot a rope over a high tree limb, and just pull it up in the air. That's all you got to do, And
now, one of the favorite antennas that some folks are building is the copper tubing, the water pipe tubing based J poles.
Yeah.
For 6 that seem to work quite well.
Yeah. that's if you want to cut copper and go to expense and solder it and all that. I mean, there's a lot of antennas you can, if you just like building antennas, that's a great one to build. The J-pole.
Yeah. It's a pretty looking antenna when you build one.
But I would think a lot of these would probably all function just about as well.
Oh yeah.
Until you get
as the balloons are proving, with 10 milliwatts you can work the world. So, and that's on a wire dipole. So
yeah,
a lot of it is band conditions and luck, and of course in our case altitude. But still, it just goes to show that you can work anywhere to anywhere when things are right.
Yeah, man, I used to sit back and enjoy working 6 meter AM. It sounded so cool, man. And
my big thing was radio teletype back in the day.
Yeah.
I loved working 20 meter radio teletype.
Yeah. So the band's getting better. We've had poor band conditions for a number of years now, and it's starting to get a lot better for us. And now we can enjoy. Some good ham radios coming up over the next 2 or 3 years. Is it's going to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Hey, Bill, what's up?
Hey, Glenn. Hey, Tom.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Tim. And whoever JM is, hello, JM.
Yeah.
Hi there. How are you?
Hey there.
JM. Who is JM? Who is that?
Hi. I'm brand new to the series.
Okay, cool. Very good. Are you a shortwave listener? Are you a ham? Do you have a license?
So I became extremely interested in ham radio in the past year, and I started studying for my technician license.
Okay, cool.
And very excited about field day also. And I was just studying all the different applications of radio, and I got very interested in Pico balloons. I think what you're doing is
that's
really cool.
That's great. And where are you located?
I'm located in New York, in the Bronx.
New York. Okay. All right. Well, very good. Hey, I've been a ham 58 years. It's been a great hobby all those years. I probably couldn't pass the test now if I took it, but I passed it almost 60 years ago. FCC don't come looking for me. There's too many new things now. I'm old school, but it's a fun hobby, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I would recommend don't stop with the tech license. A lot of people get that, and then they just sit back and you're going to have more fun. When you get that general license, you're going to have a lot more fun with the hobby, and it's going to open up a lot more for you to do.
If I can do the extra, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
The
Tom,
more
I'll
bands,
send
the
you
better.
Tom, I'll send you the question for technician. How's that?
Well, Bill gives online test right there.
And I also give in-person tests.
Okay, he's a tester, so you guys can hook up there and when you get ready, and take some practice tests, and when you start getting good enough on a practice test where you're passing each one of them, take your test.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about field day for the newer hams, you don't even have to have a license. And as a general rule, the extra on site is the control operator for everything. So you basically have extra privileges for the duration of the field day. So you can work any band, any mode, and just have all sorts of fun. Figure out what you like the best.
I'm very excited about it. The whole thing, I think it's just like a great hobby, a great way to connect people. And there's so many different applications. Like there's this guy's like, what's it called? Skydiving? With skydiving and it's a celebrity of sorts. But I'm like, when I saw the Pico balloon, I was like, no, that is fascinating.
Well, it is, and it's still fascinating to us. We've been flying now for about 3 years, but I don't know how far back you go with us. with our Pico balloons. We've flown, our best flight's been 3.5 times around the world. The last couple of flights have only made it around 2 times. But this one, it's flying so high now, it's above the jet stream, and it's not going to fly very fast, and it's actually not going where people. It's not hitting east like people want to go around the world. It's just, it made a loop through Texas, and it's come back now, back into the U.S. But we're just excited that we're flying at 51,000 feet, and it's holding together. The ants are holding it together, and I don't know if you tuned in at the beginning of the show or just the last few minutes. You may not know.
I was in the last hour, but here's the thing. I think I've been in your website a few times in the last year. So, once you get into, people talking about speaking to the ISS and some people using weather balloons, and I eventually ended up in the Pico balloon. I'm like, it's small, it's portable, and it just stays in the air. And he was able to downsize it to 7.8 grams. I think that's remarkable.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I added the question about what data you can put. I mean, I'm sure I don't want to bother your audience because everybody is so well versed, and I'm a noob, and so but I have so many questions.
Yeah, the main thing that the only really data that we're transmitting here, and it depends on the individual and how you want to program the Arduino. We're really not even looking at temperature because we know what the temperature is up there. We're looking at things like speed, altitude, course direction, and something else. I forget what it is, but mainly those things. And that's just so we can track it and know where it is around the world. And
so you're also not limited to the transmitting unit that Tom puts together. You can add sensors. It's an Arduino, so you can add temperature sensors, barometric pressure sensors, all kinds of sensors if you're willing to sacrifice, an extra couple grams for payload.
So here's the one we're flying right now. It looks pretty rugged. It's just a little piece of styrofoam. I've got 6, well, it said 106. It looks just like this. We got 6 little glass solar cells on there. The tracker is glued down right on the top there. And that's the whole thing, basically. And once you add the antenna, and everything, it's about 7.8 grams. And
yeah, but if you want to sacrifice a few more grams, you could add a whole bunch of telemetry sensors to it.
You could add to it for sure.
Yeah, and just add to the telemetry message and have it decoded, and you'll be able to get all sorts of information.
So here's
how do you know? I remember, I think I watched one of your videos that says that you can program for whenever it flies over certain territories in the world, such as North Korea would stop transmitting.
Yeah.
So I wonder how you can track it. Do you speak to a specific satellite? Is it like a ham satellite or an OA?
Well, the tracker itself has a GPS on it. The little white thing there is the GPS, and it knows where it is. And we use what we call geofencing. For instance, if we don't want to start World War III, we're told we shouldn't transmit over North Korea. So we draw a box around North Korea, and the GPS knows when it gets inside that box, turn off the transmitter. Don't talk. And when we come out of that box, it starts talking again. So that's how we do that. Here's some new boards. We've just made some changes, but these are so pretty new boards we made. There's the GPS module and the Arduino module chip on there, and that's the break-off tab at the top. We plug our programming in there to program it, and then we'll break that off to save weight. So that's what that side of the board looks like, and that's the back side. And we're making a new one right now, and some other people are actually already flying these. we're making a new one now that's 1/2 this size. If you see the little white square right there, the entire board is going to be just about the size of that white square. And that Arduino chip there is going to be on the back side. And everything else is going to be on at half that circuit board right there. So it's going to be smaller and it'll be a little bit lighter, So yeah, the thing about the Pico balloons is we don't want them to pop. If they keep going up, they'll pop. So you got to stop it at some point. And the materials it's been tough over the last couple of years to try to find material that will hold the pressure, even though that pressure seems low, 0.19 psi. It's very high when you add up hundreds or thousands of square inches. It gets pretty high pressure. And we've even tried building balloons out here, and we would put netting. We would take like a net and put it around the balloon to keep it from expanding, and a nylon net, and that net would be popping and exploding. It was so tight it would pop the nylon net. So that's been our big problem all these years, is to find something that will fly high. Now, a lot of people may not want to fly as high as what we're flying, and I guess, Glenn, if a person didn't want to fly, let's say if you wanted to fly lower, say at 42,000, I think we could probably grab that balloon and bunch it together, maybe, and
just limit the volume,
and tie it off or something, reduce
tie it off
the
a little
volume.
bit, kind of like choking up on a baseball bat.
Yeah, maybe reduce the volume. I don't know what that would do to the strength of it, but
well, you can also add weight in terms of a payload, and that will drag it down.
Yeah. You definitely could add a lot more weight, and that would bring the altitude down for sure.
But
Yeah, I mean, use those little turtles instead of ants and things like that.
Yeah, we had to maybe put a frog on there.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. Kermit's not doing anything these days.
Yeah.
Sure, he'll love a little job. But I mean, remember growing up, we had the model rockets, and they always had the one with the glass tube that you could put little critters in and launch.
Oh yeah.
So this just takes that to a whole new level.
I don't know, man. Nowadays, you might get in trouble for launching critters like that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, somebody. Who might that be? NAAC? No, that's not. Who would that be?
The ASPCA.
Yeah. Oh, man. There's so many acronyms out there. I almost had it wrong.
I know it.
Yeah, you get in trouble. So, old Bill, he sent a cricket up one time with a high school. Their high school project, they sent some crickets up to see if they would live, and someone said crickets could hold their breath for many, many minutes, and the crickets came back and they were lying. But man, don't do that to a cricket nowadays. You get in trouble. We use ants, but we don't put them in that environment. They've got oxygen mask and everything up there. So JM, I don't know if you heard us talking about the ants. It's a joke. Someone asked it. How do we steer? And we said we have trained ants aboard.
I saw that on the chat.
Yeah,
I was just wondering why. How can you fly between, lower than 40? You said if. I think airplanes fly between 25 and 40,000 feet. Isn't that dangerous?
You got to realize that it's a big space up there, really big space, and the FAA allows this. We're flying under what we call FAR, Federal Aviation Rule 101, and 101 says that we can actually fly a balloon with two payloads of up to 6 pounds each on the same balloon. We could fly 12 pounds of payload. So you can see that's getting quite large without having to file a NOTAM to airman or anything like that. So we don't have to tell them. We don't have to do anything about it. And if you really think about it, there's over 1,000 weather balloons launched every day. So there's 1,000 weather balloons flying around up there right now, and I don't think many pilots. I've got a pilot friend here, and he's never seen a balloon. He's flown for 30-something years, and he's never seen a balloon like this.
Something to remember also is that if you're going to go below, the 40,000 foot mark, now you're into the storm layer. So moisture and things like that are going to cause icing and bring you down. So you're going to be much more concerned about storm fronts and the weather and things of that nature. Whereas up at 51,000 feet, there's no storm that high. So we might get some turbulence off of a very high thunderstorm, but we shouldn't have anywhere near the condensation and icing and turbulence issues.
Well, it definitely
lower.
it definitely helps to be that high. There are some storms that are that high, and it's the luck of the draw, man. You gotta miss those storms for sure. And
but typically, if you fly through a storm and you're running 40,000 feet, you're going to go down.
Yeah, we have very little lift. 5 grams of lift, 6 grams of lift total. Free lift, and a nickel's probably about 5 grams, and that's all it can lift. You put a nickel on there, it might can lift it. Put a nickel and a penny on there, it wouldn't do it. So very little lift. So if a bird flew over and if a bird pooped on it, it might come down. And especially if it gets any moisture on it, it will come down. Now, we've had them ice up before, and they would start coming down. And as they would come down, they would warm up, and the ice would melt, and we would see the balloon go back up. But then it would ice, and it would start coming back down. Usually when it got into that cycle of icing and melting and icing and melting, normally we would eventually lose it. It would come down.
I thought that weather balloons, they have to be registered somewhere. They said, there's over 1,000 weather balloons up there, but a lot of them, they're part of this worldwide project where people launch
them,
two balloons at London time.
Well, there's a big difference between a weather balloon, which is the huge latex balloons with the 100-pound plus payload, versus a Pico balloon, an experimental Pico balloon. And the rule we fly under is just that experimental Pico balloon, so we can have, the 2 6-pound payloads, and we can launch as many of those as we want. There's no limitation on the number that you can have launched up.
Well,
we're talking about launching next to an airport, because there is also this thing where you're not allowed to launch a weather balloon. I think.
There's some rules. There are some rules that stipulations in the FAR 101 exemption that we follow. There's some things you have to follow. For one, you don't launch it near a busy airport like Chicago Airport or Washington. You don't launch it at an airport. And you've got the string that holds the payload, it has to be breakable, 50 pounds or less. So there's a few steps that we have to take, but it's not required to issue or notify them of what they call a NOTAM, NOTAM, notice to airmen. Now, we flew a big balloon last year, and we got a nice video if you just search W5KUB for high altitude balloon. We did like a weather balloon this past summer where we flew it up to 107,000, 108,000 feet. Now, we did file a NOTAM. We didn't have to. We were told that we didn't have to, but we wanted to let them know just for safety. We launched that balloon in Tennessee, and we recovered it down in Mississippi. It went 62 miles, and we knew exactly where it's coming down. The tracking programs are so good with these weather balloons that we can tell just about where it's going to be. For instance, that balloon headed, it took an hour and a half to get to 108,000 feet. And when it popped, of course, it's falling. And as it's falling through different altitudes, the wind is going different directions. So 1 minute it may be going west, and the next minute it may be going south. And but the program knew where it was going to go. And if you'll look on our video, and you'll see the predicted path, and you'll see the true path, and they're almost perfect, lined up. And we launched. It was up 3 hours. We drove down to Mississippi. We stopped and had breakfast, and we were down there waiting on it before it landed. And we were within hundreds, of yards from where the balloon came down, basically. And it was cool. We had 3 cameras aboard, 2 cameras facing out, 1 camera facing down. You can see a little bit of the blackness of space, and you can see some of the curvature there. And we had 2 different GPS units in there. Battery packs. I think we probably weighed somewhere close to maybe a pound and a half or something like that. But that was cool. That was an exciting chase to go down and wait on it to come down. I'm afraid to do it again because everything went perfect. We would not be that lucky this time.
No, you don't want to mess with perfection. You got that one really good one.
We'd lose it. It would land in a swamp somewhere where you couldn't even get to it in a boat. And down in Mississippi, there's a lot of water and cypress trees growing, and even a boat.
No, you don't want to try it a second time. That one time was about as good as it gets.
Yeah. But that was fun. That was exciting, and we've got that video here. I need to pull that video up. That was a good video. Let me get that video.
Yeah, that was a fun day. I was here at the house listening to all of that.
Let me get that video.
Was that a Mylar one or a
No, it was a weather balloon. It got 25 feet in diameter right when it popped. Let me do this right.
Because I was thinking, since your specialty is Mylar balloons, I was just thinking, wow, that is a hell of a big birthday balloon.
Yeah, well, the goal of this one was to get to 100 and something thousand feet, and it made what, Tom? 109,000 plus.
We made 108. Yeah. We did better than we thought.
If you could get a Mylar balloon that big, and you put the nylon netting on it, and would it go the same height, and would it stay?
We tried that. We tried to design it that way. We never could get one to hold up. It never would do it, man. It would always burst before it got to super pressure. I'm gonna pull this video up. I think it's gonna be interesting. People might want to see this. I mean, it's a fun video. Let me get it here. We'll get it and put it on here. I want to see it again too. It was
and with the netting and stuff, the balloon just kind of keeps trying to squirm through the netting, and it just can't be done.
Okay, that's 100,000 feet, but what about anywhere in between the 50 and 100,000?
Well, we were never able to do one, even with netting.
This 50,000 feet is about the highest that we've ever been able to go, other than the up and down one.
And when you say we, is there like a group of people, a group of friends, or association?
I mean, if I'm available, I'll go and help them launch, and Tom has a buddy or two that'll go help him launch. And because I live like 20 miles away from Tom.
Oh, nice.
And so, he'll say we're launching on such and such a day, and whoever's available will generally go down and help or watch or whatever. And like on the 108,000 one, we actually had a buddy with an airplane, and he was actually flying chase on it in the air.
We had an airplane trying to, and with GPS, he was flying circles under it, but he never saw it. He was trying to help us to recover it. Let's see. Rough video. I'm getting close.
When you guys say far from an airport, I mean, can you be more specific? Because, I'm surrounded by airports here.
Well, we actually almost went over the Memphis airport, and that's a very busy airport. In fact, our chase plane was doing circles just south of the Memphis airport, and that was an active area, where flights come in and go out, So, yeah.
As a general rule, probably 10 or 20 miles away from an airport is more than enough. And Tom generally launches from a field over in Collierville, and that's almost on the east-west approach to the Memphis airport, but that's a little used runway, well, not little, but they don't use it very much during the day. And Tom, you're what, maybe 15 miles away from the airport?
Yeah.
So, there's no problem with launching a Pico balloon, that close or that far away from an airport, but you definitely don't want to do it within 5 miles or so.
I have trouble on YouTube pulling.
So how
it
much
up.
is the kit nowadays? It's like $18.
No, there's no kit. You can buy trackers already built. They're around $100 to $150.
Yeah, now these trackers need surface mount components and stuff, and some of them are about the size of a small flea. So Tom has to assemble them with a microscope and whatnot. So it would definitely behoove you to buy a pre-built tracker and then build your project around that. But now the balloons themselves are relatively cheap. Tom, what are these?
Well, these high altitude ones now we're $12 get you around the world probably.
Whereas the SBS ones before
They were
were in the
about
$100
$170.
range,
Yeah, over 170.
150.
Interesting.
All right. Why can I not do a search under W5KUB? Let's see. W5KUB. Okay.
But all in all, it's not super expensive to launch one. Especially, get some of your buddies to go in together and, cost you $25 each or something.
Yeah.
That's the tracker plus the balloon. You said
Plus the
tracker.
helium and all of that, or the hydrogen.
And you said you can also put an antenna on it.
Yeah,
Well,
you want an antenna.
The antenna that we use for Whisper, you'll need a ham license for a general class, or better to transmit in on 20-meter Whisper, but
Right, because you need an operator for it, right?
yeah.
Right.
The antenna is a 20-meter dipole, which is 34 feet long, but it's made out of wire the size of a hair of your head. It's very small, so the entire antenna. Okay, let's see.
So guitar string, you said?
He was using guitar
it's a
string
magnet wire.
before.
It's made of magnet wire. I think
And he went thinner now.
I found a video here. Let's see. Yeah, this
Did
is.
you ever try a pickup wire? You know what I'm talking about? The guitar pickup?
Well, I use that. Sometimes we use, in fact, this little wire right here. I don't know if you can see it. This is it's short. It's only about 2.5 inches. That's a guitar string right there. It's pretty stiff. But the 20-meter antenna is 34 feet long. You don't want to run this stuff 34 feet. Yeah, I found a video. I'm gonna put it on here, and it's probably about 5 minutes. We'll run it, and I want to see it again, and probably some people haven't seen it. So let me cue it up here, and let's see if we can get it working here. Let me open it up. Now this is not the Pico balloon. This is like the big weather balloon where we chased it down. But I think you'll enjoy this. Let's see. Maybe that'll work. Let's see. Let me get a little audio here. Here we go.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes.
That's us launching in Tennessee.
Now, this one had what, 3 GoPros on it, Tom?
Yeah, 3 cameras on it. Well, they weren't real GoPros. They were the cheapie, they were the knockoff version. I didn't want to lose 3 GoPros in a swamp somewhere. but we're going up about 1,000 feet per minute right there. This is not actually completely all in the proper sequence. It's just some video I cut. The entire thing was 3 hours long. But there we are in our recovery vehicle. We're hitting, there's a recovery plane. We thought we'd see if they could spot it first. They had GPS in the plane and were looking, but they never saw it. I think it was falling right on top of them. Glenn, can you hear me talking right now? Glenn, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So we're going to reach altitude and pop here in just a minute. That's us chasing it. All right, we're about to pop. $108,000, that's 20 miles.
House is probably in that shot, but I couldn't find it for you.
There's the predicted and the actual. We were lucky it went on that tree.
Oh, that's great.
So you can see that balloon, right? That balloon weighed 2,000 grams. I mean, that was a heavy. That was heavy.
Were you able to reuse the parachute?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, the parachute, the cameras, tracker, everything. We could relaunch it, but I'm afraid I'll lose it next time. we were there waiting on it, you know. But that's the only one we've done like that. Our job here on our show is to try to, you know, float one around the Earth.
He's going. You know, and that's the thing is when you have one that's literally as perfect as that one is, what more do you have to prove by doing another one?
Well, it was definitely exciting. Yeah. We got in the truck and started heading to Mississippi. We didn't know if we were going to find it or not, and it all worked out perfect. And it came down right where it's supposed to come down, and man, I mean, that was.
Well, the thing is, you made one wrong turn. Your navigator sent you the wrong way. Otherwise, you would have literally seen it hit the ground.
Yeah, I think we might. Well, I'm going to say we could maybe stuck our arms out and caught it, but it did land in that tree. We were lucky it didn't land in one of those taller trees.
Yeah, but I mean, like you say, that's just one of those. Everything was about as perfect as you can ask for. Why do you want to do it again and risk losing the 3 GoPros or the 3 cameras and everything else?
Yeah.
They're also more expensive to launch. No, it's about what, $800 to $2,000.
Well, yeah, that was not a cheap launch.
That balloon, that was probably $100 balloon. We had 3 cameras, a commercial GPS in it, and a ham tracker.
Plus the aviation fuel for the plane.
Oh yeah, we had a plane. Yeah, we had a plane.
I watched a video recently of another weather balloon, and they had to call the sheriff in order to get into this guy's property in order to retrieve the balloon.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Did you have to go through that as well?
No, it landed in somebody's backyard. We were yelling for the people, anybody home, and we actually went out and she finally came to the door. She happened to be in a bikini. She was at the swimming pool.
Well, and I mean, let's face it, are you going to open the door when you have a bunch of crazy people outside wanting to get in your backyard to look at a balloon?
She was at the pool, and I guess you got 4 or 5 guys walking around in the backyard yelling, hello, hello.
Yeah.
Anybody home? Yeah. Oh, man.
Lucky she didn't shoot you.
Yeah, I know it. Her husband was a pilot. But he had gone somewhere to the store and says, "Oh man, I wish my husband was here.
That would have been cool.
He would have loved to seen this, you know."
Yeah, and I mean, it was close enough to me that I could actually hear the whole chase process on simplex.
Yeah.
I guess that was probably about, maybe 15 miles east of me.
All right, well, let me just make another announcement here really quick, since we're coming close to the end of our shortwave show here. Hey, guys, if you're out there listening on shortwave on WBCQ 7490, we're glad you're with us tonight. This show's a bit about ham radio, amateur radio. We've been launching balloons that go around the world. A lot of fun. And you may be listening out there on our shortwave radio. We'd love to hear from you. Please send us an email to tom@w5kub.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you're listening to the show right now on WBCQ, let me just let you know you can watch us at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesdays at w5kub.com. You can join us there. Love to have you. If there's any late people there, please hit that subscribe button. There it is right there. I'm giving you a hint. I'm going to give you a hint where it is. It's right over there somewhere. That should be pointing close to it. Please click that subscribe button. Join our Facebook group. 13,000 hams in our Facebook group. You can find it easily just by going to W5KUB on Facebook, and you'll find it there. All right, we've got we got a little over 10 minutes before our shortwave show ends on WBCQ. So, what else is going on, guys? The chat room got kind of quiet. I don't see a lot of things going on in the chat room. I don't know what's going on here. Why is everybody so quiet tonight?
Because I'm tired and I'm going to be tireder this week.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to give both of these demons a bath.
Oh, man.
Bill, you would have paid to watch Rodan get her bath.
No, I don't think so, because that house probably would have had 5 inches of water on the floor.
It did. There was no doubt she put about 5 inches of water on the kitchen floor. It's kind of like giving an angry boa constrictor a bath.
Yeah.
She didn't bite, she didn't claw, but she did everything else.
I'm sure she was
hates
swearing.
her show bath. Oh, yes. She hates her bath.
Hello, guys.
It's funny. They both hate the bath, and then once the bath is over, they're like, yo, dude, we know you got some treats. Come on, bring them. And it's all forgiven and done and over with.
Is she still there, or did she leave?
She left. She got bored and tired. You know, this is summer.
Went to visit her sister in the other room.
Yeah, this is the time of year. It's just so warm outside during the day. They sleep all day, and at night they're like, we're ready to go to bed at 8 o'clock. You know, the only reason she was here is because she knows that tonight's the webcast night, and she loves to be in here for the webcast. But this theoretically will be the last field day that I missed because of cat shows.
Well, that's right. You're going to be out of town, aren't you?
Yeah, and this is supposed to be their last show. Supposed to be. We know how that goes. You know, it's one of those, you say it's going to be their last show, and then they keep winning and winning and winning, and then you're like, maybe I'll just keep going to shows. There he is.
Guys,
There he is. Hello, Bill.
We have had Mr. World Famous High Altitude Balloon Guy just join us when he could have been with us the whole show. I'm going to have to give him a demerit or two.
What it was, that balloon video drew him out.
Maybe it did. I don't know.
I get partial credit.
All right. We'll give you credit. We'll give you a little credit.
Called just in time.
Yeah. Well,
So,
tonight,
Bill, are you going to be up at the K4BFT site this weekend?
I'm going to be at the W4CQD
Okay, that's right. You're going to be at Athens.
at Athens State University. We're launching two Pico balloons as part of field day. And if I have time, I'm going to swing by K4 Big Fat Turkey, as we call it, at Huntsville.
I may swing by there Saturday night. It all depends on how tired we are.
Well, they've got great food, so
Oh, yeah.
Don't be too late.
And
Well,
I'm just, a mile or so
maybe
away.
I should drive down for the food, man.
Yeah.
Well, at my place, they're doing steak dinners, $15 a pop.
Oh, whoa, where's this?
Well, you mean,
It will be at the Topsfield Fairground
wait a minute.
in Topsfield, Massachusetts.
You
We're all
telling-
going
are
to
you
the
telling
wrong
me-
events
are
this
you-
weekend, man.
are you
That's all
telling
there is to
me-
it. We need to go to Massachusetts.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait. Bill, are you telling me you guys charge for food up there? We give it away down here.
You want to know something? This is not my deal.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing the testing at noontime. Okay, from 12 to 2. Okay, and they said, well, why don't you hang around? We'll feed you. And I go, okay. And they said, well, steak dinner is $15 a person.
Why don't you
I pay
tell 'em?
$15 a pop for a steak dinner. I'm on my way. The heck with the cat show.
Well, I used to go to the Nashua field day event, and they actually brought out an actual kitchen stove, not a not a barbecue, but the actual stove and an actual refrigerator, and ran everything off the generator. And they had like 21 stations operating.
Oh, yeah.
at one time. It was a big deal.
What year was that, Bill?
Oh, that was back in the 90s.
The one radio club is doing just Saturday from noon to, I think it's like 7:30. Okay, because they said they want to be off the hill by 8 o'clock when it gets dark. All right.
Man.
Oh yeah, they're not gonna. And of course, on Sunday morning, I have another test session for the other radio club group. Okay, I plan on getting there at 6 a.m. so I can do a little bit of operating before the test session, and then when the test session's over, I want to go back on the air and do a little more.
And I guess, call me strange, but I like doing the overnight shift because that way I don't have to give the radio up.
You've got cool breezes, and they have to deal, not as many thunderstorms. So I like the overnight shift. Plus, the propagation is great.
Yeah, it's usually me and a logger, and we rotate on and off.
There's nothing like 40 and 80 meters at night.
Oh, yeah. When 40 opens up at night, man, that is just so much fun.
All right. Well, since Bill's here, Bill, you got to give us a report. How do you think 112's doing?
It's doing great. It's come back to America.
Yeah, it may come back to the launch site. I don't know.
Well, it found its way across the border.
It's already across the border. Yeah, already crossed the border.
It's in New Mexico now, and it's a slow ride at that altitude, but it's doing fantastic. You went clear down to the southern part of Mexico and all the way back.
Yeah.
So nice little trip there, seeing the sights, and we had a university flight last night. It was automated. It was supposed to go up to 2,000 feet and float. Instead, it went up to 800 feet and floated, which was 20 feet above average terrain.
Yeah.
And they chased it for 5 miles and somehow managed to avoid trees, floating just 20 feet off the ground. And they kept jumping up in the air trying to grab it, and then they would miss it by a couple feet.
Oh, boy.
They finally hit a tree and they got it back.
Yeah.
But it had an actual a valve to release the helium gas and a little water bottle to go back up. So they programmed in different flight levels.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it decided instead of 2,000 feet, it went to 800. But it automatically launched itself off the building. It just sat there, and then they dropped water, and off it went.
Well, that's cool, man.
It was all automated, and they've had you might be familiar with this, Glenn, is the Teensy, is that the processor you were talking about?
Yeah, there's multiple versions. The Teensy 4.1 is the monster. It's a 600 megahertz Arduino.
That's what they were flying, and
wow.
But it draws some current, does it not, at that speed?
Oh, yeah, it's a pretty hefty processor.
They had to drop the processor speed because it was overheating their regulator.
Yeah, I was going to say there are probably better choices because 600 megahertz I can't see being needed for something like that.
Oh, no, definitely not. They dropped it down to like 48 megs.
Yeah, I would, something like
They were overheating their regulator. It was so hot you couldn't even touch it, and so they dropped the processor speed, and then it was finally cooled.
Yeah, I'd have said something like the STM, the Blue Pill, something like that would have been just fine. A lot cheaper, too. But, the Teensy is a powerful thing. It's like 26-something bucks.
That's pretty amazing for what you get for $26.
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
kind of speed, that's amazing.
Well, some folks up at Dayton over in the QRP Archie group had a complete SDR built around the Teensy. And in fact, it was in last month's CQ magazine. They had a little sidebar on it.
Now, who makes the Teensy?
PJRC. Don't ask me what the acronym means.
Peanut
but they
butter
make the
and
whole.
jam.
Do what?
Peanut butter and jam. PJ.
Yeah, there you go.
It looked to be about the size of the old basic stamp, or a little smaller.
Yeah, it is. I've got one here, but yeah, it's about 2.5 inches by 3/4 of an inch.
It was amazing what you can pack into that.
Oh yeah, I mean 600 megahertz with all of the memory and stuff it's got. It's quite a horse. And that radio I was talking about, it's actually a software-defined radio. So I mean, it's that's pretty powerful for an Arduino.
So after you go to the cat show, you're going to bring Rodan and Godzilla over to the K4 BFT field day fair?
Are you kidding?
That'd be a mistake and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they saw all those radios and antennas there, don't turn your back, because the truck would be full of somebody else's radios and antennas. I mean, she's done claim
from the ground. There wouldn't be any logbooks.
She's done claim the new Yaesu rig is hers. I'm lucky to be able to touch a knob on it.
That's an expensive heater, but
yeah, it's hers. It's so funny. I've got that, and I put it on the desk here to unpack it and everything. Within 5 minutes, she was laying on top of it.
Wait a minute. I think I got a clip here, Rodan. Let's see.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer.
I love this.
Just type in the question. It will read his mind. There's the answer code.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
I keep saying I'm going to do that with her one day.
Oh, man, you're the man.
She would probably.
So you're
let
saying
me
I can
do
ask
the
this cat
aluminum
any
foil.
question?
Man. Guys, we've got 1 minute till sign-off time. 1 minute. Let me see on the squares, the KUB squares. Did you guys make square? I didn't do this video, but did you guys make the squares? Let's see.
I
Okay,
mean, that's still pretty cool.
here we go. All right. Hey, Bill.
well, you'll enjoy the Huntsville field day site. They usually have 7 stations and a GOTA station, and it's a great cookout in the afternoon, evening. So if you get back,
It all depends on how hot and how tired I am. I may just hit that hotel room and stay there with them.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be 100-something degrees this weekend.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and a little humidity mixed into that.
Yeah, it's like an oven.
What's the temperature going to be when it's the Huntsville Ham Fest?
It usually runs in the 90s in August.
It'll be cool inside.
So it'll be cooler, but since the whole thing is air conditioned, who cares how hot it is outside?
Well, it depends if you're staying at the embassy or if you're staying somewhere else.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
if you're staying somewhere else, you're only going to be outside long enough to get inside.
Yeah, it was about a 10-minute walk there from Gallatin Street there.
This is a
I mean, worst comes to worst, I'll park in the parking deck and it's just across the street, 5-minute walk.
Is this how you get to your ham shack from one end of the house to the other?
This is field day antenna just put up.
Ah.
This is our field day antenna. I'm fixing to check it out here. It's got a
I
little,
was going to say,
There's the WB4 ELK on the air there.
yeah, it's got a little droop down in the center there. I'm gonna slide out there and check it out.
Way below to the folks.
I'm about ready to take off there as soon as he hooks a little more scrap up. But now we're on the antenna. There we go.
Yeah, this is how you tune a 160 meter long wire.
50,000 watts on that antenna right there. I mean, it's a nice big
Join the
cable.
show if you want to about the song.
Yeah. Here we go. How you like my welding glove?
There should be no friction there.
Yeah, I have to use those to stop. Yeah. Yep. That is the brakes. Welding.
You'd have to give me a bigger paycheck for me to do that.
Hey, they got one over there that goes 60 miles an hour. It's
I'll pass.
Really long, man. It goes 60 miles an hour.
Hey, can you load that up for field day, the zip lines?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna load that sucker up right there.
Yeah, that'll work real good for 80.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, guys, hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in to the After the Show tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. We'll see you next week, man. Don't forget to come back.
Yeah, and get out there and do some radio stuff this weekend there, JM. I'm not sure where in the Brooklyn area that they're doing it, but if you know any hams, maybe they will be more than glad to assist you in either taking you there or telling you where it is.
And you can go to the ARRL.org website, and they will have a list of all the field day locations.
I know where they're going to do it. I went to the club. I visited the club. It's in Yonkers. I live in the Bronx. The closest club is Yonkers. I was just thinking, I wanted to ask you, would you recommend, like, what snacks do usually ham radio guys usually prefer? Because they said, bring snacks. And I thought, I don't know, with these guys, you know.
Oh, some Slim Jims, maybe a couple of bags of chips.
No.
A block of Diet Coke.
No.
I mean, you know, hey.
Bring donuts. Bring donuts.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with chips and soda.
Candy bars.
I don't know if it's cigarettes or cotton candy, you know.
Yeah.
But I look forward. I look forward. Also, I just checked the weather, which it was a very good call. It's going to be between 65 and 85.
Oh, perfect.
All right.
That's
well, hey,
beautiful.
JM, what's your first name?
Jairo. It's
Jairo.
it's like, yes,
Okay.
like Cairo with a J.
Okay. So I want to see you again next week. We want to keep following up on your progress. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, one of the things I always brought to field day was a big bag of the peanut M&Ms.
Oh, I could eat all those too. Yeah, I could eat those.
He had to look at Kathy because she knew it.
I had to drink a Diet Coke with them, but you know, hey, you take a Diet Coke and M&Ms, they cancel each other out.
Yeah, they cancel each other out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You've got positive calories and negative calories, and
Just
combined
don't eat Mentos and then follow it with soda. That might be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
it won't be too bad of an idea if you're trying to reach 109,000 feet.
Yeah. All right.
Good night, guys. We'll see you.
Yeah, we'll see you
Tom, I'll try and take a couple of pictures for our field day site and
All
send
right,
them to
take
you.
them and we'll show them on here next week if you can take some.
All right,
talk
bud.
about it. Hey, Bill, are you there?
7 to y'all.
You still there, Bill?
See ya.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Bill, I seen you note. I mean, I've tried different glues on that balloon, man. Nothing wants to stick to it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that two-part glue I've got. I sent you the picture of it. It's not super glue. It's Loctite something. Two-part. That's
Right.
that sticks better than anything. You put that activator on there. It comes like in a little pin with a little felt tip. You put that activator on there, and then you put the glue in there, and it will stick it together. But you can pull it apart. But it holds better than anything.
What did you use on this most recent flight on 112?
I think I used that glue, and I just folded it and taped it up with Kapton tape or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well,
That's certainly doing good.
hey, I found some more 4-gore balloons. $1 a piece, man. 36 inch instead of 32.
Really?
Yeah. I ordered a few of them to see what they are. They got a great big old filler thing that hangs under them.
Huh.
I think you can even tighten a knot. You know, I don't know. It's going to be amazing. I got to see what they look like.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll have to do a pressure test.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Hey,
we're
man,
doing
this
two,
balloon,
an APRS one and a Whisper one at Athens State University.
I've had this balloon filled up out there in the shop now for about 2 weeks, and it is tight. It hadn't lost any. I'm just using it. I'm just using the internal sealer, and it's not losing anything.
That's good.
And that thing
impressive.
That material, you know, that balloon feels so fragile when it's not blown up, but that thing blown up, it feels tough. I bet you I could kick that really hard with my foot and it wouldn't hurt it. I mean, that thing is tough. I've been
Beach ball.
I've been heating it with the hair dryer. It won't stretch. I can't stretch this more than about 106. So it's not.
But you got this one, the 112. You got to stretch out.
Well, I think it went up pretty far, and that concerned me. I think one of them got up to around 116.
You probably had one that was cut a little different.
Yeah, I think it was a different balloon because this one's not doing it, man. This just will not. I don't care if I heat it. Hey, and this material's pretty tough. Instead of a hairdryer, I took out one of those Black & Decker heat guns. You know that you melt frozen pipes with.
Yeah.
And man, I put that on there, and I mean I can burn a hole through it, but it doesn't affect it much. And I ran that heat up and down that seam. You know that seam's only like a 1/4 of a millimeter, man. I ran it up and down, and that seam didn't fail. That seam is strong.
Yeah, they have got a good sealing process there.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, the spreadsheet says even at 105, 106, the spreadsheet says 52.8 or something. 52,000.
What did the spreadsheet say for this last flight?
Well, it said something like 57,000 or something. Remember, and you and I talked about it, and we figured we'd probably get 46.
Yeah, and you did 51, so that's pretty impressive.
51. So, yeah, I think it was just a bad balloon that's up there. I don't know if we can get some more bad ones or not, you know. Maybe we can. Yeah. Well.
A bad boy balloon.
Yeah. I noticed there's something there, was it KB5 BB or BS or something? He's flying one. He's flying at about between 50 and 51,000. So it looks like.
Who's that?
Who's that?
Who did you see that?
It was on the Pico group, KB5 BB or.
I didn't see that one.
He's flying one. It's flying right about the same as this one. So.
Really?
It looks like to me that these balloons are going to fly. That's the altitude for them. And I was just thinking, if you want to go faster, we're going to have to choke them up a little bit. You know.
Yeah, I know. Oh, you mean? I don't see it. There's a KB1 KBR.
No, there's a 5. He's a 5 down in Texas. He posted something.
Oh, AB5.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, BB or
SS.
SS. Yeah.
Yeah, where is he at?
He's down in Texas.
I know, but where is his balloon right now? He had several. I know him. He's in the South Texas balloon group.
Yeah, but he his Yokohama's flying at about 50, 51.
Well, I don't see him today. Let me go back a few days here. Maybe it didn't make it today.
Well,
I think I'm going to try a 10-meter balloon for field day and an APRS one.
That'd probably work.
It'll be a W4CQD. And trivia question, what does CQD mean?
Wasn't that the SOS in the Titanic era days before they went to
right.
SOS?
CQ distress, I think, or disaster in that case. But yeah, That's exactly right. Well, that's their club call sign for Athens State.
Oh, that's cute.
I thought that was pretty cute. So you'll see W4CQD flying.
What have I got up on the screen here?
Yeah, I kind of hate that I'm going to miss field day. I mean, it's kind of like, growing up with kids and having to take them to soccer tournaments and stuff. And you miss
So
all
when do you get off from the cat show?
Usually about 5 o'clock or thereabouts on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then, Sunday we get out about 2, but that's just a straight drive home.
All right. Well,
What is this whiteboard I've got up, and how do I get it off?
Exit full screen.
Exit full screen.
Yeah. Tim apparently is sharing his screen
is that
with
Tim?
you.
I mean, is that? I thought it's something like I did, or I thought Bill did.
Yeah, I turned around and saw that, and I'm like, oops. And then I saw that it was from Tim sharing his screen with us.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's kind of neat to be able to share screen like that, or not share screen. I mean, kind of like a whiteboard. It looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know what that little button there says.
I don't see that AB5 or W5 station you were talking about, Tom, on the current list. Even back 3 days, I don't see it.
Huh.
Oh, there it is. AB5SS-91.
Okay.
And yeah, he's at 49,000 feet.
Yeah.
He's over Nebraska right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see him now. Yeah, I've got his email address. I'll have to ask him what he's doing with that one. He's building his own payloads.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think this is something maybe Tim opened. You said I can't tell. It's got my initials up here. Tom Medlin, editor, and Tim Conway. I'm trying to figure out how to close this, but I can't figure it out.
Oh, you just
Oh, what?
scroll all the way up to the top and then click your view options, and then you should be able to close the
View, standard, full screen, view full screen, maybe? No. I didn't do it.
So, Tom, where are you going for field day?
I'll probably just visit Memphis here. It's just down the street from me.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Glenn, we might see you at Huntsville. It's about the time I'd be there. It's about 4 or 5.
It all depends on A, how hot it is, and B, how tired I am. Because normally after a day of this, all I want to do is get to the hotel room and crash.
Normally, for field day, we usually have a gigantic thunderstorm in the afternoon
Yeah.
on one of the 2 days or
Plus, if
overnight.
it's 100 degrees, I'm really not going to want to stand outside.
But it's right outside the hotel there, and they do have a pretty good food setup.
Yeah, I drive past it every year.
The nice thing is they got some of their RVs and campers are they're air conditioned.
Yeah, because I'm right there at the La Quinta, just up the road from there.
Okay.
Can't remember the name of the street, but it's literally it's the exit about a mile before the Drury or 2 miles before thereabouts.
Gotcha.
And the La Quinta's where all the cat people are staying. That hotel would just be full of meowing things.
A lot of fur.
Oh, it's Disney World to my guys. They hate the drive over. They both get car sick. So they just hate the drive over. And then as soon as they get to that hotel room, they are literally bouncing from bed to bed the whole night.
Now
They love double beds.
my cat hated to drive and ride in a car, and just going a mile to the vet, it was like it was basically like an ambulance siren going off.
Well,
And
with
we're-
mine, it's just she starts drooling, foaming at the mouth almost.
My
And
cat would just howl.
And then after about a half hour or so, they both settle down and just tolerate the ride. But as
I had
soon
a
as the
friend
car
that-
stops,
Put their cat in the passenger seat, and it would prop up and look out the window just like a dog.
oh yeah, the one I showed back in the 80s, she just thought flying and driving was the coolest thing. And she'd always, be sitting either in the seat next to me or whatever, and somebody would be pulling up past us on the interstate, and she'd stick her head out the window and stretch out as far as she